ReefDVMs coming at you today with the brand new Gator style that's out there from John Deere. This is brand new for the 2018 year. This is the XUV 865M series. John Deere has really changed up the Gator this year. This is the newer version. I'll compare it to the older version as I walk around it here quick and kind of show you things on it. This is a cool little beast. It's got a lot of features I really like, including the dash here as it lights up. I like the center console design, which they have on the smaller ones. I certainly love the piston opening windshield. There's just so many good things. Let's just kind of go through them. So first of all, John Deere has taken this from a two-seated vehicle to a three-seated vehicle with a ton of storage underneath the second seat. Enough that I'm able to put my tools in there, some emergency supplies and so forth on the farm. Plus you still have the standard glove box, which is basically full of the winch handle and a flashlight or two in it. I really like what they've done. They've got cup holders in this thing throughout. They've dropped the radio down to a car level, so it's no longer up in the roof. Again, you've got power steering, you've got LED light systems, and as you can see, the frame is not tubular. The frame is automotive style, which means that let alone you get a full glass windshield on this thing, you get the ability to add components that match other than just by tubular straps. It includes a full cab system with air conditioning and heat if you want it. The front has plenty of space. It's really easy to access the fuses there and get to the radiator portion. And of course, the engine's sitting in the back end. I'm going to take mine and right off the bat, I'm going to get my my Hitch System in there. I use a standard 2-inch drop ball hitch, which is great. Just slides into the receiver. And I've got the winch on the front of this vehicle. You can get this vehicle with a 2-inch receiver in the front and the back and the winch on the receiver if you want it. But I've got the winch built into the front, and I'm just putting the recovery hooks in the back that we used occasionally when we get this thing stuck. And I'm certainly putting in, like I said, 2-inch receiver, both with the ball or with the hook system on it. Doesn't matter which to me. At this point, I'm just going to kind of put it back to where we like it. This Gator is replacing the 855D. The 865 is again a diesel 23 horse Gator, very similar to the 855D. This is a Tier 4. My other one was a Tier 1. I did go with the manual tip bed with the piston in it. Literally opens with one finger there, as you can see. And one of my only gripes is they didn't change the warming plug for heating it up in the winter. It's this little short, little tiny cord sitting right on top of the engine block. Wish John Deere had routed it differently, but either way, I will get it routed. So, buy a 3-foot-long extension cord from the Home Depot Menards stores, a few zip ties, and of course I reroute the thing out to the side where we can easily get to it without having to tip the bed. Now, obviously, it isn't difficult to tip the bed, but remember the Gator that we're replacing, we actually have 3 more seats in the back, which actually can seat up to 4, and we put that in the back. Here's my storage with it filled, which is great. Under that seat, I've got my spotlight there in the front, up by the middle well there area, out of people's way. Got that velcroed down. On the roof, basically put the hazard light back on it that we have in all our farm vehicles. It goes on with the key, as you can see there with my daughter doing it. And a nice feature this one has is when you turn the key off, all the lights stay on for probably about 15 seconds. That's really nice when exiting the vehicle. It doesn't go completely dark. With the LEDs on the back, I can see easily on the back. I've now mounted the seat, the 4-up seat that I had in the previous Gator. I just moved it over to this Gator. It's in really good shape yet, so I want to continue to use it. And then what I'm basically going to do is show you the old Gator. Now, the old Gator doesn't have the seat in it anymore. Remember, I just swapped it out. But you can see the differences right off the bat. It's sitting pretty much on the exact same width of frame, but there's a lot of different changes. The longer wheelbase, the wider seating compartment area, and still the standard bed. I'll show you the measurements on that in a bit. As you can see by the front, there's a difference in the windshields too. And I went with all glass windshields on both of these models. I don't like the acrylic scratch feature. and I certainly like to be able to, wipe or scratch the snow off if I need to. Both of them have the guards in the front. Obviously, the older one has a tubular guard over the front tire. That's fine. I just didn't get that on this one. This one has the advantage to us with a big family. We can seat 6 of us. The old one obviously could seat 5, but we're actually able to put 7 people in it just because our kids are little yet. Both of them have the same hitch system. Both of them have the same bed. When you measure the bed, it's about 51 inches across in length. This is the new one. And when you measure the, I guess it would be the depth direction of the bed, it also has not changed. So basically, the bed portion of this vehicle is the same as it's always been. Kind of 2,000 pound carrying capacity. With pulling and weight and everything. And dimension-wise, no change. It's about 45 inches in depth. It's about 51 in width. And between the two models, that stayed consistent. As you can see there, you can see the seat there is actually on with pins, which is nice, so you can take it out. Here's the old Gator, again, just for comparison. Nothing has changed. I got those guards on the rear tail lights on the new one too, as well as the old one. I think those are a really good thing to do, especially if you're going through heavy brush and stuff, and you have to back up. It's easy to hurt something. The bed on my old one is in great shape. It's really held up well, folks. I anticipate the new one will do the same because there's very little change to it. There might be a few scratches here or there, but it's been excellent as far as strength and durability. When you go up to the seating area, I have the 2-up seat here. They did make a bench that you could put in these, but again, it really only held 2 people because the transmission shifter was in the middle for the older model Gators. But this is where you really notice the difference is on the width. So as you can see here, if I can get the tape to hold still, the width of this Gator is, I'd say about, maybe at most 57 inches wide, as far as the width. And I'm not going to the tubular structure. I'm just going to the actual, plastic fender well there. When you go over to the new Gators and you measure them, they give you a little bit more distance, and they've opened up the area. It's easier for you to get in and out, less in your way. It reads about 63.5. That difference is extremely noticeable, especially with the fact that you have the kind of the 40-60 bench in it. The reason there's a split in the bench is because the driver's seat is adjustable, and I love that. Another measurement that's changed is the height a little bit. This one's with the roof on it, and this has not got the liner and stuff, but it's reading 77 inches. On the other one, which has the same tires, by the way, we didn't change tires or anything, it's reading about 74 3/4. So you gain a little bit of height with the non-tubular structure cage that they've put on the new one, but also you gain the ability to have full doors, AC and heat, and a fully insulated cab, which is kind of a nice thing. Another change is in the wheelbase. I'm going to measure it here just from the outside real quick, kind of hub to hub, if you want to think about it, 87 inches. When I go to the other side, let's see if I can hold it still here. It's kind of hard for her sometimes to get it on. We're at about, I would say 85, 84, somewhere in there. So an extra few inches there. That distance is reflected not in the bed, but in the space to get inside to seat in the main area, which is great. The overall distance is a little longer. I'm going to call it somewhere around 124. I'm not really trying to count the front bar structure in that. On the older unit, it was about 116, depending upon where you measured it. Again, these are just rough measurements, but the length is a little longer, and that all equates to comfort for the driver. As you can see here, this one had the split windshield. The old one does not have that, and the windshield was very thick with metal around the edges because it had to attach to the tubular structure. You get so much more visibility out of this one. It's really nice, and the windshield does fully open with a piston, so you can open up the windshield still, which is a great thing. Again, both of them had the built-in winches, but the new one does come with the winch with the nylon braid cord instead of the steel braided cord. I find that fantastic. This one's got the optional LED lights on it. As far as driving it, this is my daughter here. She's going to jump in it. The other seat was adjustable too, but it didn't adjust as much as this one. This one's much easier for her to slide up, get into position. Again, with the shifter being on the dash, it's easy for her to do. It has a much simpler brake system. It's not a lever arm like it used to be, which was difficult for her to release. It's a pedal. You push down the brake and you just pull the little knob and it snaps the brake back up. Very, very much car-like. It's a good vehicle for us on the farm. I think it's going to last us numerous years again. I plan on putting a lot of hours on it, and I'll certainly give an update review as we keep using it. It seems to start quicker. It is winter still here. I was running about 15 degrees the other morning. I had both machines sitting side by side. I glow plugged them both the exact same amount of time. Took about 3 or 4 cranks to get the older one going, which does have a new battery and a new starter in it. And this one fired right over. So they've obviously done something with the glow box and the electronics to get this beast going better. As far as weight, it does add about, I think it's like 500 pounds of weight compared to my old one. So it's a little heavier machine, and again, not wider, but a little longer, a little bit more leg room. Speed-wise, surprisingly, we're getting a little more out of it. As you guys remember, my other Gator there topped out about 31 miles an hour. We took this one out on the road, and with the back seat in place in it, with the guards on it, just as we built it here, we punched this thing on the flat road, and we were quite amazed. We were able to punch this thing all the way up to 35. I know it says it does about 30. I think it says it does 32 or 33. But this sucker was cruising down the road very easy with the power steering. And both models, by the way, have power steering. My older one and this one. This thing ran it all the way up with 2 people in it, and like I said, the back seat in it and stuff, all the way up to 35 miles an hour, which was fantastic. Running about, I'd say, 3,400 RPMs there, and as I punched it all the way up to 3,700 RPMs, we were running, like I said, about 35, 34. I like the dash. It's very easy to read. I like that the locking diff is right there on the steering wheel. And as you can see, we threw all 4 of our kids in the back. Again, adults would probably seat 3 easier, and they all buckle in. We've got seat belts for them all. And off we go. So we're going to be able to actually fit 7 in this at this age point, which is really nice for us. This is a vehicle that's used every day on the farm. It's a workhorse for us, and we really plan to get our miles out of it. These things are selling for about $15,000 in town, which is good. The resale on the old one was $11,000, so it's held its value very well. So 500 hours, get 11,000 out of the old one, 15 on the new one. Sure, we eat a little bit, but, things do depreciate with time. And I'm quite pleased with that amount of resale in that older unit, so I'm very happy with it. As far as getting around and stuff on the farm, it's going to be a great beast to throw hay bales in, keep tools in. I've got basically more bed space now because I don't have a toolbox sitting there. It's now sitting underneath that seat. I'm very pleased with the changes they've made. I love the fact that the mirrors come standard now if you want them to, and they're John Deere mirrors and they have different positions on them. I absolutely love the storage in this thing, the way it's starting and handling. I'm very impressed with the changes John Deere has made. I think you guys will really like the new series. This again is the 865M. It's the diesel version. You don't need mud flaps anymore. Everything has kind of been thought of in this vehicle. I'm sure they'll come up with more things in the future. But I appreciate you watching, folks. Thanks for liking our channel and subscribing. Please like or subscribe again and show support for videos like this, and we'll put a great update out on this. We appreciate it, folks.